Hey peeps, Dave Kwasinski, philosophyofdave.wordpress.com, and also davekfitness.com. It's July already. It's 2018 already. You know what that means? That means the end of this month I turn 60. 60. So it means that time's a-wasting and I need to communicate with you a lot more often. So we're going to focus on two topics related to fitness: faith and health. Two different kinds of fitness. Today we're going to talk about faith, and this is not a G-rated conversation. At least, it's not a G-rated conversation. Nothing that I'm going to say is not meant for everyone's ears, but I'm going to ask you to paint a picture in a couple of seconds here that is stark and not very pretty. Focusing on the readings from today's Catholic Mass. This is what was my inspiration for this morning. That plus the fact that this is the month, so it's time to step up the game and to be much more consistent for as long as God allows me to do it. And in the first reading, that's what really inspired this conversation right here. I'm going to think about three things. Ask you to think about three things: depravity, warning, and decision. Decision as it relates to excuses. Let's put it like that. So in the first reading from Amos was a prophet that was from the poor section of, the poor part of the southern land of Judah. And he was called to speak to the much richer elites in the northern part of Israel. He didn't care if he was talking to a common person or if he was talking to a king. He was going to lay it out for everybody. This is a hard visual, but I want you to think about it very carefully. Son and father go to the same prostitute. That's from the reading today in Amos. You see, things haven't changed very much. We aren't very enlightened in 2018 any more than they were before the time of Christ. There's nothing new under the sun, folks. We were as depraved then as we are now. Amos goes on to talk about what happens to those who are neglecting to do what they know they're supposed to do. His warning is, "I will crush you into the ground. The warrior shall not save his life. The swift of foot shall not escape. The most stout-hearted of warriors will flee naked because they're in such fear." The responsorial psalm for today, the response is, "Remember this, you who never think of God." So there's some very significant words in those first two things, in the reading and in the psalm response. And then Jesus continues in the gospel right after the Sermon on the Mount from Matthew, where he wants to get into a boat and go to the other side of the water. And he's got people that are saying, "Lord, Lord, I'll follow you, I'll follow you." And he says, foxes have lairs, birds have nests. I don't have any place to lay my head. And then another guy says, "Lord, Lord, Lord, I'll be with you in a second. I want to bury my dad first." And Jesus says, "Let the dead bury the dead." Now, is he really being that cold about letting the dead bury the dead, about not taking care of business at home? No, I don't think so. Scholars have told us that what he's really saying is, you're going to have to make some tough decisions. It's not going to be that easy if you're going to follow me. And sometimes it's going to call for either this or that. So don't make excuses once you make the decision. Folks, we have a very short time on this earth. I will be 60 this month. How much more time do I have? The Bible says, what does it say? 70 years. I can't remember the exact quote from the Bible, but it's basically 70 years, 80 if you're stout-hearted, or if you're a little healthier. A lot of people last a lot, or don't last as long as that. So how long do you have to do what you need to do, to say what you need to say? Jesus isn't waiting for guys like Amos to call. He's calling you, and he's calling me to talk about what's really important. And what's really important is walking each other to heaven. If you don't believe that, that's the first place to start. And if you do believe in heaven, what are you doing today to help the people that you see today get there? This is Dave Kwasinski, DaveKFitness.com, thephilosophyofdave.wordpress.com, here at beautiful North Point Marina in Winthrop Harbor, Illinois. It is a gorgeous Monday morning, and I hope you have a great day. Love you. Pray for me. I'll pray for you. And remember, I ain't no holy roller. That's not why I do this. It's because we need to do it, because we're called to do it. Love you. Bye.